Jakes used to come to my parties. TD Jakes also gave me young boys from church for sacrifice.
Hello there, I'm Eva Pilgrim. Thanks for streaming with us. Week 3 of testimony in the Sean Diddy Combs trial, starting with the music mogul's former assistant, Capricorn Clark, taking the stand.
Why would we need a 50-foot bed?
I mean, TD Jakes ain't small. I'm just saying. If it's a group thing, it's a group thing. You gotta think about, you got Rick Ross, you got Khaled, we talk about heavy hitters.
I have all the proof of Diddy's gay parties. When I tried to leak the proof, Diddy threatened to kill me. I also have videos of Diddy performing sacrifices.
What if all of your preconceived notions about the Diddy trial suddenly vanished? What if a well-known figure like TD Jakes suddenly revealed shocking information that may end the case? Hold on, because what I'm about to say isn't just startling, it's revolutionary. You won't believe the names that have now been revealed as being connected to Diddy's inner circle. The reality becomes more sinister than anybody could have predicted at this point. Everyone, welcome back. The Diddy trial, one of the most contentious and heated events of the year, is the subject of today's news. Just when we thought there was no more tremendous drama to come, many people respect and trust TD Jake, who comes out and reveals a list of persons connected to what is now known as Diddy's dark circle. This is more than just a rumor. It has the potential to upend the trial's premise entirely and rock the foundations of both the legal and entertainment industries.
She testified she was held against her will twice, at one point alleging she was forced from her apartment and into a car to take Combs and one of his bodyguards to the home of rapper Kid Cudi to, quote, kill him. Cudi was dating his ex, Cassie Ventura, at the time. Clark also claimed Combs threatened to kill Ventura if she didn't convince Kid Cudi not to tell police that Combs was allegedly involved with a break-in at his house. Clark also telling the jury that a large man repeatedly administered lie detector tests to her on suspicion that she stole jewelry loaned to Combs. She testified that this man said if she flunked the test, they're going to throw you in the East River.
Maybe that'll save some souls. I know he got a contract with Revolt, so I'm just like, it's just real strange that he would be found at any kind of Diddy party or any kind of place with Diddy unless it's in a business atmosphere. So now what he's doing is he's making, man, he making the Christians look real bad right about now.
And you've been to these parties, right?
Oh yeah, I was there when he was doing the white parties in the Hamptons and the whole 9 yards. So I know what goes on at the parties. If, you know, they probably got a little bit more freakier, you know, as time went on, you know, because they got to the point whereas that they didn't even care.
When these identities were revealed, you won't believe what happened next. The partnerships, the betrayals that nobody anticipated, and the secrets that were kept behind closed doors. This is when things start to get interesting. Some of the individuals uncovered are influential people you never would have thought to be involved. We'll be breaking down every detail, every twist, and every startling truth that the media isn't letting you know. So pay attention. There is more to this tale than Diddy, so make sure to see it through to the finish. It has to do with power concealment and eventual revelation of the truth. We must go back in time and examine the history of the Diddy trial in order to completely comprehend the seriousness of what TD Jake has just disclosed. This case has been making news and captivating viewers all around the globe for months. Fundamentally, the trial centers on grave accusations that have the potential to destroy Diddy's image and have an effect on the music business as a whole. Diddy, a powerful businessman, was charged with being a part of a secretive organization that some insiders refer to as his dark circle. This group is accused of playing roles behind the scenes, directing narratives, and influencing results. The trial was more than simply a legal struggle. It was a struggle for control, influence, and power in a field that seldom shares its dark secrets. Testimonies, circumstantial evidence, and legal arguments accounted for a large portion of the trial so far.
President Clinton, President Obama, President Trump. I think these are 3 American presidents who really, really, really wish they had no connection to Diddy. But they all do. They all know him, appeared with him, partied with him. Clinton, Obama, Trump. And they're not the only famous people who partied and hung out with Diddy. Apparently there's like at least, I don't know, 100 plus who are going to be named in his trial. Famous shiny stars. We named some of them last night. We got a new one tonight, Iron Man. But we don't yet know what the connection is. Like, how are all these famous faces and names going to be connected to P. Diddy in his traffic trial? It's the kind of thing they're all freaking out about, right? And there are many unnamed yet. We're just finding out about them in jury selection. But I'll tell you what, the internet is freaking out and making its connections. Which shiny star had what connection to Diddy, and how could that end up in the case?
Yeah, there you go. Y'all. Thank you. And I just want to say how much I appreciate Puff Daddy for doing the kinds of work that he's doing, because he doesn't have to do this. But this is part of what is important about giving back.
Since we applaud you, and I want to apologize for not sweating, but I do this so much. I'm so cool. I just want y'all to see everybody I'm interviewing is sweating. I'm not even touching my brow. I'm so cool, and I want to apologize. I ain't trying to make you look bad or nothing like that, but I'm just so cool. We
T-shirt. I tell you, if he was wearing one of those fancy designer clothes he's designing.
The candidates are being asked about their own connections to or impressions of an array of celebrities, and with no explanation why, at least not yet. The parlor games have begun, my friends. Everybody is trying to connect the dots between the shiny, famous names and the beleaguered rap star Diddy and the charges. Just today, the name Robert Downey Jr. came up in court. Robert Downey, the actor, and Diddy apparently do know each other and have been seen together in public. But Robert Downey Jr. reportedly never attended Diddy's parties. So if he does figure into this trial somehow, it's going to be a lot of news to a lot of us. Mike Myers, another favorite Canadian, favorite actor, favorite comedian. He is on the jury question list as well. And that too is a tongue-wagging mystery. Unless it's about the quick jab at Diddy that he took in the Austin Powers movie. I don't know. Doesn't seem likely. Rolling Stone magazine reports that actor Michael B. Jordan made the list because Diddy once threatened him for dating Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Same goes for the rapper Kid Cudi. USA Today says that Cassie's lawsuit claimed that Diddy threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car.
That's why people get on my nerves talking about who you should be seen with. I do homeless shelters.
It was a shock to many in the religious community. Bishop T.D. Jakes has been a spiritual advisor to presidents and a religious voice to thousands. Now he says it's time to pass the baton to a new generation.
This is a beautiful moment for me.
From the pulpit Sunday, Bishop T.D. Jakes announced that he was stepping down from leadership at the Potter's House.
Jakes used to come to my parties. T.D. Jakes also gave me Young Boys from Church for Sacrifice.
Sacrifice Jake took center stage. That is known for his impact both within and beyond the church. T.D. Jake has shocked many by speaking out. He shockingly revealed a number of names he believes are associated with this dark circle. Furthermore, everything the prosecution and defense have been fighting about might be completely upended by these findings. It becomes rather serious at this point. The individuals listed are important figures with considerable influence in the entertainment, economic, and even religious sectors. They are not just spectators. This reveals a network of relationships that many people were unaware of. So, the trial is about much more than simply Diddy. They don't want you to know the surprising part. However, some of these names have already started to respond, attempting to contain the damage and stop the discussion. The ramifications may impact partnerships, jobs, and reputations far beyond the courtroom. We'll go into more detail on T.D. Jake's identity, the significance of their role, and the implications for the trial's future in the next section. You won't want to miss this. I promise. Both the entertainment and religious sectors were rocked when T.D. Jake came forth and revealed individuals connected to Diddy's inner circle.
Forced me and other celebrities into physical contact. Jay-Z and Beyonce are also with Diddy. I apologize to everyone for my wrong actions.
Diddy, I apologize to everyone for my wrong actions. TD Jakes is most known for his influence as a spiritual counselor, and his leadership in the church. His unexpected engagement in this issue added to the impact of his insights. What is the significance of TD Jakes' name, and who did he name? Numerous insiders and claims that were released claim that TD Jake disclosed a list of well-known people who are purely associated with Diddy's network, people who up until recently have escaped detection in spite of their obvious participation, according to some accounts. This so-called dark circle consists of strong business magnates, well-known music executives, and even certain spiritual leaders with connections to the entertainment industry. One prominent figure who surfaced is a seasoned businessman who has long been suspected of having close relationships with Diddy, but has never been openly linked to his private affairs. According to reports, this person had a significant influence on some of the more contentious choices that Diddy's group is said to have made. Then there is a business magnate who is well known for his media and entertainment ventures, who reportedly contributed to the funding of some of the activities connected to the main accusations of the trial. The degree of financial power behind the scenes is seriously called into doubt by their involvement in the case. This is where things get even more difficult. However, Namesy, sometimes known as TD Jakes, is a well-known spiritual leader whose engagement has astonished many, since it goes against the conventional wisdom that says religion and business are separate. This discovery adds another level of intricacy. What does it imply for those who trusted these people? And how far does this black circle really extend? It is impossible to exaggerate the importance of these names. They expose a network of power and secrecy that extends beyond straightforward accusations made against a single person. This concerns a system or network that, according to some, manipulates public opinion and court decisions in order to forward its own objectives. Furthermore, TD Jakes' disclosures have compelled media organizations and investigators to begin further research. According to those familiar with the investigation, fresh material is being examined, and some of the mentioned people are already being investigated informally. However, this is the aspect that the mainstream media has been reluctant to cover. These names have more than simply influence. They are accused of a history of stifling criticism and defending their own at all costs. This implies that the consequences of this disclosure might be severe and could result in more inquiries, legal action, or even criminal prosecution. In the immediate aftermath of TD Jakes' revelation, the accused party's responses, the public's response, and the implications for the Diddy trial's future will all be covered in the following section. You won't believe the extent some people would go to in order to conceal the truth, which is rapidly coming to light. The response was swift and fierce when TD Jake made public those bombshell names associated with Diddy's alleged dark circle. There is more to this than a ripple. It swept through the court system, the entertainment industry, and even religious circles like a tidal wave. Let's start by examining the accused party's answers. Crazy, man. But to get into this lawsuit, right, Cassie,
But to get into this lawsuit, right, Cassie, she testified that Diddy will force male escorts to urinate in her mouth during free-calls.
My man, you know, that's a touchy and difficult subject when you're a man and you have daughters. You understand? And that's why we as men need to play a prominent part in our daughters' lives, because you get men like this that's got this corrupt and devious minds that they don't respect womanhood. You understand? That's some nasty, perverted things that you want to have somebody urinate in the mouth of somebody who gonna be talking to you in your face, who gonna be kissing on you, who gonna be eating food with you. What kind of deviant and crazy mind you have to have somebody do that to somebody that you care about, you supposed to care about, that you supposed to love, man. You know, something is sick about that, brother. You can't tell me that that's some kind of fetish. You know what I'm saying? You know, he didn't outdid R. Kelly with that right there, bro, when I heard that. So that's a effed up subject and situation, man, to even imagine that you got somebody doing that to somebody that you supposed to care about and you supposed to be in a relationship with.
Several of the mentioned people released public comments very quickly following the announcement rejecting any wrongdoing or complicity. Many clearly distanced themselves from the accusations while avoiding direct confrontation by using carefully worded statements. Some said their identities were being used in a narrative that didn't affect them, which is a common way to minimize and divert attention. Here's the catch, however. According to insiders, these denials seem planned and practiced. Legal teams swiftly organized to handle the problem, according to industry insiders, promoting narratives that seek to undermine TD Jake and characterize his disclosures as baseless rumors or possibly an effort to sway the trial. On the other hand, a lot of people in the public and on social media expressed their indignation and admiration for TD Jake's bravery in speaking out within hours. Hashtags advocating for justice and transparency went viral, igniting contentious discussions on social media sites like Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Diddy supporters were split, with some supporting him and others calling for transparency and responsibility. Another level of intricacy is added by this public divide. It's a societal discussion about power secrecy and the extent to which powerful people would go to defend themselves. It's no longer simply a courtroom drama. This is where things get even more difficult. However, encouraged by TD Jake's disclosures, several former insiders and whistleblowers have begun to come out. They claimed that they have direct knowledge of how this dark circle functions, describing a shadow network that subtly shapes public opinion. Court cases and media coverage. One whistleblower detailed secret meetings where plans were made to influence the trial's narrative, including efforts to stifle witnesses and victims. Others have claimed that intimidation and financial incentives were used to conceal the facts. These are grave allegations that, if confirmed, may lead to a whole different phase of the case.
Came in this business saying I was going to expose. When I talked about Michael Jackson, when I talked about R. Kelly, they canceled me for these things because why would you talk about another black dude? Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, TD Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
Good, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm good because I know the truth.
TD Jakes, do not speak against homosexuality.
World-renowned Dallas pastor TD Jakes is named in a federal lawsuit against musician Sean Diddy Combs.
It's filed by a producer that worked with Combs. It discusses how the singer planned to leverage his relationship with the bishop to soften the impact on his public image of Casey Ventura's lawsuit. Ventura is a former girlfriend of Combs who filed her own lawsuit in November alleging abuse, violence, and sex trafficking.
Could this federal investigation have come out of these private lawsuits?
Oh, absolutely. If it involves sex trafficking or drugs or weapons or other illegal behavior.
Lori Levinson is a former federal prosecutor.
They've decided this is worth a lot of resources across the country. So once they've done these searches, they have evidence to follow up on. And if they've got it, they'll move on it.
It is often expected that tales such as this will emerge about them since they are highly recognized. Everyone first thought that Prophetess and Jake were involved, but later on some evidence surfaced to substantiate the charges in a society where headlines are everything. The issue with being caught up in one incident after another is that ultimately they start to cloud whatever you may be engaged in. People started to question if the bishop may not have been entirely innocent of the charges leveled against him, as was partially the case with Jake when not one but two persons came forward to admit that they had first-hand memories of the pastor mistreating them when they were younger. The heat of this fire grew. They do, however, keep it in mind, since in a surprising turn of events, the preacher's own son also found himself in a predicament that increased the likelihood that the recent accusations against him would be believed. It's quite likely that you have heard of TD, even if you have no knowledge of the message he espouses. Jake's, even while his church may have been the primary factor that thrust him into the spotlight. A number of other news stories have also kept him there. Some of them are more surprising than you would imagine, like the one involving his kid that was reported by a Dallas police department. According To reports Homo Asabronis, the son of T.D. Jake, the megarch pastor from Dallas, who said he would never employ a homosexual person, was nabbed in a gay sting at Kai Park Senior CPL Janice Crowther a dud. Spokesperson verified at the time that the two undercover vice detectives were male based on the arrest affidavit, when Jermaine Donald J. was charged with indecent exposure for allegedly exposing himself in front of them when the detectives saw Jake and a few other unidentified men parking their cars in the lot east of the park. They were looking into a citizen's concerns about activity. Jake approached them with his urine visible after the detectives followed him into a forested area. According to the affidavit, Jake made eye contact with one of the investigators and paused for a few seconds. Through his unbuttoned trousers, even though there was a nearby path where people were running and strolling, the well-known bishop's son made no effort to hide his urine. Affidavit also states that Jermaine Jake claimed TD as his place of work in court documents. For those who may not be familiar of TD Jake Ministries, was first held at the scene before being released, which most people thought was odd given the circumstances. Jake's established Potter's House, a 30-member congregation in South Dallas. The preacher's son, on the other hand, is shown in the narrative as being trapped in a same-sex marriage. HIV/AIDS advocates have criticized the pastor for stigmatizing drug use and homosexuality, hindering efforts to avoid the illness, and for being a staunch opponent of same-sex marriage. The preacher may soon have to deal with claims in court when one of his former mentees, Manus Jordan, said in a recent video that victims of the alleged power-down bishop are planning to sue him. It's already hard enough that his son was embroiled in a fairly odd controversy. Do you recall the prophetess's prediction that he would face accusations? I think she was talking about this. I've yet to see scriptural authority that permits me to stand on behalf of God and say, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Jake once told USA Today. As I said before, two of the criminals were victims of SS in addition to Alda's, as we can see from the picture flying around with Diddy's head resting on the shoulders of the Black Pope. It is no secret that Manus Jordan most certainly once rested his head on Bishop T.D. Jake's shoulders. But it seems that Manus has finally managed to get away from the Black Pope's shoulders. But it seems that Manus has finally managed to get away from the enemy and is now utilizing his position to assist more victims. According to Manus Jordan, a former mentee of Bishop T.D. Jake, the well-known Dallas pastor, said he has met with other victims who have come forward.